Hello, everyone. Before we get started this morning, I want to start you out with a question. And I want you to think about it before we get into the devotional. And this is the question. If you could stand before God right now in your human form and be granted one wish, if you could ask Him for just one thing, what would it be? Think about that for just a minute. There is so much we could ask God for, but you only get to pick one. So what would it be? I'm not going to give you the title to today's devotional just yet, but I am going to go ahead and share with you the Bible verse that will lead us into the discussion. The Bible verse that we'll be looking at today comes from Proverbs 8:10 through 11. And these are the words. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that one may desire cannot be compared with her. Think on those words for just a minute. First, let me say thank you to each and every one of you who make the choice to come in and sit for just a few moments to be still and know that He is our God. Now, my devotionals for the year 2024 have come from this little red book titled Be Still and Know, and it's put out by Broad Street Publishers. So I've left a link for you down in the description box so that if you want to go and purchase your own copy, you don't have to go looking for it. Now, before I share with you the title, I also want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And let me remind you that be sure to hit that little like button. And if you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll always be notified when I come up to share Be Still and Know. All right. If you were granted the one thing that you desire the most, what would it be? We can probably answer this question better if we think of who or what we idolize. Whose life do we want? Or what quality do we most desire? Beauty, intelligence, creativity, recognition, or just simply love? King Solomon understood the value of wisdom better than any other. When God offered him anything he desired, King Solomon responded with a request for wisdom. He could have asked for fame or riches or success in warfare. Instead, he asked for understanding. King Solomon sought knowledge and instruction first and ended up being the most wise, wealthy, famous, successful king that ever lived. Think about that. This is 2024, and King Solomon is still recognized as the most wise, wealthy, famous, successful king that ever lived. God, I recognize the value of wisdom today. Give me deeper understanding of your word and the world around me. Help me to seek after your wisdom as I would seek for gilt, silver, and jewels. So, did you think about for just a moment if you could ask for just one thing from God? If you'd have asked me that question back when I was teaching piano to several students, I would tell you that I wanted so desperately to be able to sit down in front of the piano with a especially classical piece of music and make that music sing with my fingers. I will admit, I can play the piano and I can play it really well. I can follow the instructions when it tells me to increase the volume or to make it softer. I can even make it cry I guess that's what you want to say. Give it that very melancholy um, tone, and I can make it nice and, you know, peppy and march like, and even a little bit of jazz in there if it calls for it. But mine is very mechanical because I do what the music tells me to do. But I have to I have to be a proud mama here for just a moment. My oldest daughter has the gift of feel for the piano. She has the gift of being able to make a song sing. That's what we call it in the musical profession. When you can take an instrument and make it sing in its voice, that is a true talent. And my daughter has that talent. And I remember being a young mother sitting there watching her on the piano bench take those classical pieces of music, Bach, Beethoven, Chopin. Her favorite was Tchaikovsky. Oh, she loved that composer. But she could just sit there, and eventually through her practice, you could feel, you could you could see her body actually connecting with those keys on the keyboard, and she and it became one. And folks, I'm getting goosebumps again. She could make you feel the music, make you feel the joy, the sadness, the struggle, the anticipation, and the climax. Oh my word. Like I said, I can play the music for you, but you can tell that mine is mechanical. I can, and what I mean by mechanical is starting right here at this note, I need to start building. Okay. But you know what? There's no um there's no life behind that. She can give the music life. So at that point in my life, if I was to be asked, if you could ask God for one thing, what would it have been? I would have asked for the gift of feel of music. A little later on, my second daughter comes along, and folks, she was the perfect height, perfect body build. She was limber as a little twig sitting out there blowing in the breeze. She loved gymnastics. She loved getting out there and tumbling and flipping and jumping up and down on the trampoline and just doing all this. I mean, wow. And once again, at that point in my life, if you could have asked me for one thing that I would like to have been able to do, it would have been to be able to have a body that limber. You know, bend over backwards with your belly facing the sky, and then just kick yourself back over. To this day, guys, I have never been able to do a cartwheel. No. Put me on a pair of skates, and I'm like that big old spider in Harry Potter, all legs, and you just can't keep yourself balanced. I'm the same way on water skis. Never could do that one either. But at that point, if you'd have asked me, what? What's the one thing you would like in life? I would have said, I want to be able to tumble and roll and spring right out of I don't know what they call them. Anyway, if you watch gymnastics, those girls that can run and bounce off that big old pad and just land straight on their feet, never buckle, or the girls that are out there on the mat and they tumble from one corner to the next. And oh, yes, that's probably the one thing I would have asked for. And then along comes my third daughter. She, even to this day, can giggle and laugh at some of the most difficult times. She knows just how to break the awkwardness in a conversation or a room. We used to call her our little family clown, but in a good way. So if you could have asked me at that point in my life, I would have said, I want to be outgoing like her. I want to constantly look at the good in people and not be that one that sits back over here against the wall and watches everyone. You know, I don't know that I want to mess with that person. They don't look good. Or, I'm not kidding you. I used to be very judgmental and probably still am today in some respects. But she was just so open and so accepting of everyone. So at that point in my life, if you'd asked me what I wanted, I would have said, I want her gift, Lord, of being able to put everyone at ease, make everyone feel welcomed and loved. We go through different stages in our life of the things that we might ask God for at that particular moment in time. But is wisdom ever one of them that we ask for? Maybe in your point in time right now, health, good health would be the one thing that you want to ask for. Or maybe you're struggling with money situations. And not so much maybe to be rich, but the one thing you want is to always wake up every morning and not worry about how are you going to pay the rent, or how are you going to provide groceries for your kiddos? How are you going to get to work? There are so many phases of our life in which the things that are the most important to us change. But I think that at the very top of our list, no, I don't think it, I know it. For me now at my age, the one thing that I know for certain I would ask for, if I could only choose one, I would ask God to please, please, Lord, make sure that each one of my kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids, and for however long my line may go until He comes to take us home, please make sure that each one in my family hears the knock of the door of their heart and that they open it. Put the people in their lives that they need to hear from that will plant that seed, so that when you are there on the other side of the door that doesn't have a doorknob, and they are on the side that does, that they open the door so that you can come in and take over from that little seed that's been planted and help it to grow. I really do hope that you take the time today to think on if you had that one ask from God, what would it be? Please be here again tomorrow to see what else it is that God has in store for us to learn and to ponder on. Until then, but remember, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. Could be your light they need to see. I love you guys. Bye.